Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Crit Hit Coffee Breaks.
Or
I'm Sean.
Kafifi break, however that's pronounced.
However,
Anyways,
oh
I'm
man.
Arlyeon.
Today we just wanted to, kind of touch base and really discuss our feelings on that whole thing with Immortal Planet that we
Touched on in your
reported on.
interview.
Yeah, which is that the good ending to Immortal Planet that was supposedly added at this point has been invariably confirmed as
False.
false. Yeah, like that there was never a good ending. It was
Well, there is a good ending planned, but it never made its way into the actual final
and
game.
from what from we have a bunch of like we Arlyeon was able to get like a full conversation with the guy, and yeah, there was a good ending planned, but at this point in time, it's never going to be in the game.
Well,
He has
I mean,
stated
hypothetically never, unless, like, he somehow
he
got a
is
Kickstarter going or went back to this, but he said the likelihood of it ever actually properly entering the game was very slim. It would
yeah,
not be
because he
cost
said that
effective to put it in.
he said that because the game's like he's quoted as saying the game sold rather poorly. Those are
Here.
his exact words.
Okay, here it was.
There was
Supposed to be a good ending, but it got scrapped. Game sold rather poorly, and I can't really rationalize working on it anymore besides the weapons update. That is a straight up quote from the developer, so there you go.
So, the reason that we were so frustrated about it is that we really felt that it was just shady, underhanded, and it took advantage of people that had already bought the game.
Well, specifically, I wouldn't. I mean, I couldn't. Well, I would sort of put it as take advantage, but another way is it specifically was like a middle finger to the fan base. It had a bunch of people who really liked this game and enjoyed it and wanted more content, and had them scrabbling around the game, technically falsely inflating their cumulative play hours, which does actually influence how high of a standing this game has on Steam.
The one of the things that gets your game higher up on the list in various categories is the cumulative play time across everybody that's played it. So it's kind of really shitty in that aspect that effectively what he did is he, like you said, inflated his game's rating by essentially tricking people that were already playing the game to play it more.
As a prank, by the way. His direct, like, another quote from him here was, where is it? "You are just too gullible," in regards to me having bought into the, hey, we just added a good ending. It was essentially meant as a prank, or at least that's what his official statement is on it. And yeah, so he...
No, and the main thing, like, I guess, we're disappointed with TW himself, Tomaz, I believe.
Tomaz is his name.
We're disappointed with him. I guess that's the way to put it. We're disappointed with him as a game
I have no
developer.
issue with the game. I believe not even necessarily as okay. I'm disappointed in his interactions with the fans. His
And
work
that's why
on games like Ronin I liked Ronin. I like Immortal Planet, though Sean was like lukewarm to it. Both of us were like, the game feels short. We wish there were more of it. It's his interactions with his fan base that we take issue with.
And I do want to and I do want to say, like, the rest of the team, they were put in a position where they wanted to tell people, hey, it's fake, it's a lie, there is no good ending, but he had them under a
non-disclosure agreement, yeah.
And so they weren't legally allowed to. They've since heavily apologized
I mean, to Tomaz's credit, he at least allowed them out of that NDA to comment on it. Shard, the moment he got that, sort of proceeded to post a public apology and confirm that the good ending isn't actually in the game. Which, I mean, kudos on that, and, like, it's nice to know, because, like, just to backtrack, part of what had tipped me off that there might not be a good ending is back when I was searching for it so heavily, Shard had warned me about searching for it too hard in case I get burned out, and he had, like, essentially subtly hinted for me to stop repeatedly, because I was spending hour after hour after hour going through leads and meticulously going over the game. And he was, like, in a private message being like, you know, you might want to just wait. I'm sure you'll be the first to find it. You have as much of a chance as anyone else to find, because there was no chance. There was literally no way to get it. So obviously, I was. So
yeah, I'm definitely a lot less angry than you are, I think, because like I wasn't searching heavily for it, and the moment that you showed me those patch notes, I was literally like, "Hey, in before it's false."
And then, like, I told you, and then you were, like, in before it's false from the patch notes, and then you were less like that when I was like, the developer straight up said it's in there, and, like, has been hinting to the community, and you're like, okay, shrug. And then, when I found it was false, you were like, someone get me a phone, because I called it, and I was like, fuck. Fuck. So, like...
Oh, man. But anyways, that's our interactions with each other neither here nor there.
It's pretty on point though. But I mean, so
yeah. So
let's take a pause here for a second. So Sean's interaction with this is mostly on a journalistic standpoint of this is news, this is game, this is sort of what we do for this channel, is report on stuff. We tend to prefer our interactions with our news to be positive and following progression and development.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on a game or a game developer by any
I don't
means.
even want to shit on Immortal Planet, honestly, because I still enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than Sean did, but this is shady. Like, that's part of the thing where it's like, Sean has his one thing, I had 3 facets to this. The first facet to why I'm reporting on this is because I really like this game. And I felt like this was going to leave people with a really bad taste in their mouth after it got out. And I was like... And I mean, I was also a beta tester for this game, and so it's like my big approach when I see a problem.
That's the other thing, though, is that the other big issue that a lot of people are having with this, particularly in the beta testing community, is that everybody that beta tested this game were volunteers and did it for free. And then he proceeded to encourage them to continue looking for this good ending. And egging them on, and you almost got it, you're almost there,
and lying to all the fans who are also on this server. Like, it was to the beta testing team explicitly, who we were looking for to make sure everything worked, and because so
that's kind of that's really manipulative of people who volunteered their time to make sure that your game was bug free and ready for release.
I mean, it also really sucked because it wasted a lot of time on us, not just in the sense of this, but also because since it coming out, we've been making content for this game. We were making a lore asset, we were doing another little thing to build up towards the good ending as assets, we were writing scripts, we were recording stuff, and then it comes out that we have to scrap, like, a lot of work on the part of our editor. Shrimp had work going and he had to scrap it. I had work going. I had to scrap it. I spent like...
There was going to be a whole series that was going to be, the hunt for the good ending, because we wanted to be the first ones to find it.
And there was also going to be a series of the lore and the lore pertaining to the good ending, and like we have now the full story of it, and a lot of it was like, yeah, we called it for the lore, but it's shitty. And so yeah, that's my thing. It's like, it was like a personal... They lied to us, they lied to the team. It was also like, this is really shady. And then there's like the, oh, hey, neat story. So, like, the journalism part was, like, third for me on the list. It's...
Like, you know what? I really enjoyed the lore of this game.
Actually, yeah.
I did. That was one part that I can say I really enjoyed. We both really wanted more of it. And what's really disappointing about this revelation is that, going through this conversation, he talks about what the good ending was going to be. And
it
like,
was awesome.
he says, if it gives you any solace in the good ending, the captain reveals self-destruct codes to the player, and then the ship can be destroyed, trapping one in the hell of immortality.
In a hell of immortality, because they're all just stuck immortal and now stranded.
And then it was going
awesome.
to reveal that the planet, like you heard it here first, folks. If this is where you're hearing it first, that the planet is a godlike creature.
It's like a demon, a god, or just some animalistic
prophet,
force.
Like that was going to be part of what the good ending reveals, is that yes, the priest and prophet were not incorrect. The planet was
reaching out to them. It was speaking to them, which is terrible. It was great. It was actually sort of one of those really Lovecraftian moments that you get in because a lot of Souls have these really dark backgrounds and this touch of really dark backstories which sort of tie into everything, and they actually had it here, and it was going to be alluded to really nicely.
And I really wonder, what I really want is how much time. I don't know programming. I don't know what actually goes into game developing, and I'm just left kind of wondering how much more time would it have taken for the development process to just put together that good ending. Put together one more section of the game to, have this lore and just get it in there so that we can kind of get the full story. Because unless you're, hearing it here, or, the developers told you like they told us, you don't get the full story from the game, and
you get most of it.
You never will.
You do get most of it, because there is a piece of, the one thing Shard wanted was people to find out about the lore hidden in the decoy. Because there's an item which, when you use it in a room without enemies, gives you this lore dump. And it's a fairly late game item, and a lot of people don't ever use it because they just take items that help them kill things. But the decoy item has a specific usage for giving people more of that backstory, which is why we overlooked it for 3 playthroughs. So, I mean, it was a neat item implementation. It does fill in a lot of the blanks. It just leaves out that one fundamental part of, what is the exact deal with the planet?
The planet being if they would have been able to reveal that, yes, the planet is in fact a godlike entity.
A Lovecraftian horror, basically.
It would have tied everything together, and it would have been that aha moment, and where the entire story of this overarching narrative that's going on here, everything pieces together, and it's like, okay, so this is what happened.
But yeah, I mean, ideally I would have still liked to. Okay, it doesn't actually matter what ideally we would have liked to have. I mean, originally, from what the conversation with the developer had, there was supposed to be one more area. You should have been able to explore the ship. That's probably where the last confrontation with the captain would have happened. And there you go.
Yeah, do we actually meet the captain in the game?
Yeah, he's the sleepless outcast.
Oh, okay.
So you find out he is the captain by talking to the decoy, because he introduces himself as the captain inside the decoy's recorded message, and you're like, oh, that's what his duty is. That's alluded to in the message, and then apparently you could have gotten the codes from him later after having seen that, and so that was interesting, I guess.
I just
I would have also liked to have had one of those other things of a potentially bad ending, going to fight the planet and being like, oh, I'll fight you and take you down, and then killing it and it just popping back, because fighting an immortal creature would not go well for you. You're another hell of immortality. I kill you, you kill me to infinity.
It's just disappointing, I guess,
for the way he handled this.
Yeah, because you always want. I guess you always hope that the people you are giving money to have some
the best of
integrity.
and the best of intentions, which, okay, I'm gonna also point this out
Like
here.
he goes, well, that wasn't my intention, but it kind of was, when
Also,
when you
he has this quote. I'm going to point this out here. Actually, the game could use some internet drama. I'm not into that stuff, but exposure is exposure. And then I went, like, it probably would be good to, like, apologize. I mean, fans care about this sort of thing. And his response to that was, I don't think I care enough, honestly. And that was that.
like, and that kind of tells me, okay, you don't care about the game that you created then.
Oh, and the other thing
You
here,
don't-
when I was like,
You don't
a lot
care.
of the players...
You comment. He comments that the game sold poorly, but then has responses like that, and that just says, okay, you're upset that your game sold poorly, but you don't seem to care that your game sold poorly.
Or about your fan, like, in regards to the fan base, it's like, oh, he has this, like, fan base who, the ones who are there are, like, pretty hardcore into it. And then his response towards us having, like, gone over and everything and how we took this, he's like, honestly, I think you guys are taking it too seriously. And I was like, and I think, honestly, a lot of the players and testers who are feeling salt would probably appreciate hearing from you. Like,
some people spent upwards of 15 hours looking for this.
Yeah, around that. There's some people who spent more, actually. I spent approximately 12, maybe 13.
Like, there's taking it, he said, when you say, like, oh, you're taking it too seriously, you spend a lot of time.
And he's like, the story is basically... The story... This is another quote from him. The story is basically, there once was a guy who made a game, and he is a dick. Like, he just is so flippant about all the time and everything that people invest into his game and about his fan base.
And
and
you can go
again,
and the sad thing is, you can go to Immortal Planet, and one of the first reviews on there, it's I will say that, to the Steam page on Immortal Planet, one of the first reviews, it's a negative review about the game. The person that's reviewing it didn't really like it all that much, and he has some decent reasons for not liking it. But you get to the bottom, and there's a line of text that he says, I have a lot of respect for this developer. And that's what gets me. Stuff, that I go through and I read lines like that where somebody is saying, I regard this developer highly as a person. And then you go back to this and you read through we're reading through this conversation that you had, and he couldn't care less about his fans.
So yeah,
that's
like,
what
at
I'm
the end of the
taking from
day,
it.
like, at the end of the day, what I wanted from all this, like, we tweeted at him, and his response was to immediately delete that tweet. I
tweeted Shard, and I of course I got the canned response, because at the time that's all he could give. And then it was a day later that the patch notes changed, and
oh yeah, by the way, the patch notes weren't changed to be like an apology or this wasn't in the game. The patch notes were changed to the very flippant good ending removed due to popular request.
Yeah,
which, by the way, there was totally proof that it wasn't there.
Just that one last little middle finger, haha, fuck you guys.
And turning the blame at his own fans, sort of as a joke. I mean, that one at least was sort of funnier than the original one, at least. Because it wasn't having people search anymore. For
at least that one was tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. So, like, I went into this, and my big hope was, A, for him to just actually apologize publicly, which, in that regards, I really appreciate that Shard came forward and did that. And secondly, I wanted to actually see the good ending implemented. That was, like, the biggest hope, was stir up enough and get him to work up that ethic to implement the good ending.
At this point, I really doubt we'll ever see the good ending. we can, like he said, take solace in the fact that at least he told us what the good ending was.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. It's just,
it's kind of too late, too little, too late.
So
the damage was done, and yeah, that's
it. We are going to be making a review for this game separate from all of this, because as much as, there's this whole thing surrounding it, we would like to express their feelings on the game. And so we are going to be doing that separate of all of this hullabaloo.
Yeah, the review is not going to be reflective of this whole situation. It's going to be strictly
the game
we
itself.
played the game. Yeah, we played this game before all this happened, and that's what we're going to review.
Which is also why we're taking a bit of time before we release it, because it's getting that simmer down time, because this whole thing right here is the developer's interaction with his fans, not the game itself. And the game itself has its merits and its downfalls and everything. And
the thing I said, one of the things that I said when we were kind of working up to what we wanted to say about this whole thing was I felt like this game could have been a sleeper hit if he wouldn't have, screwed over the people that were already playing it.
I mean, potentially it could
word
still
of
be.
Mouth.
Some games thrive in scandals.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. So, yeah, it still could be a sleeper hit just because we're talking about it. But, it definitely... He definitely damaged the potential of word of mouth from fans.
Yeah, a bit. Do you have anything else you want to address here? Because, I mean, I think we've sort of talked at our things. I sort of talked out my reasoning on this. If that's about it, I have a poem that I'm going to leave this off with that one of the fans of this game wrote and left for the developer. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a poem courtesy of a Steam user by Gaben Sales and Steam's Walls.
Can we get the Steam name so we can?
I don't actually remember. I think it's. Give me a second. I can find it.
Yeah.
You can just cut out the part where I'm scrabbling around here being an idiot. Fuck. It's the wrong Steam. Discussion. Okay. Here we go. This is a poem by a Steam user named Sorrow, and it goes like this. By Gaben Sales and Steam Walls, we Steam users will never fall. Though fake ending will fade in time, teasing non-existent content is a crime. For proper ending we shall wait, many bodies yet one fate. A sour face on frozen skin, life shorter by 10 hours, and no ending within. Which I think actually pretty much touches on our issues really well.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's not okay to play a joke at the expense of your fans because you're upset that your game wasn't selling.
Or
or
just because you think it would be funny to waste all our time and then not follow through. I mean, if you're gonna play this prank and then follow through, that would be better. Playing this prank and then being like, oh, also it's never coming, screw you guys. Not as cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. We just wanted to, weigh in and kind of, we wanted to weigh in and actually talk about it because we really didn't give our thoughts and opinions at the end of that interview. We wanted to just kind of put forward the facts that, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
so that we could, and then talk about it, in a more appropriate location, because we didn't want to completely Shanghai.
Yeah, that's
Shard's
why we
interview.
pinned it to the end. And why we tried to keep it short. This is our little opinion space, the coffee breaks. So yeah, with that said, I mean, for those who are like absolutely like, I need more content for the game, there is apparently going to be the Invaders update that adds 3 new weapons, some fights, coming up in like 1 to 2 months. But other than that, not sure you're ever going to get more content is the long and short of this. So that was us with Crit Hit Coffee Break. Again, I'm Arlyeon.
I'm Sean.
And if you liked this or found it informative, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share this to people you think who might be interested.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We'd love to hear from you.
Or Tumblr. We have a Tumblr because we're filthy.